Valerie Jarrett was rarely more than a few steps away from President Obama for all 8 years of his administration. And now, for the first time since leaving the White House, she's revealing new details about that time in Washington and what the 44th president plans to do now that he's left the Oval Office. I sat down with the former White House senior advisor and started by asking about election night 2016.
We had 8 years. We had the privilege of serving our country at the highest level, and part of our democracy is then you hand the baton on. So I think I had adjusted ahead of time to what it would be like, and it made it a little smoother. A
little smoother, but it was rough.
Yeah.
There was some rough, election night. What was that like for you?
Well, it was, I think, gut-wrenching is how I described it. But that's our democracy, and then you have to just move on and figure out how you want to continue to do what you care most about. And for me, it's issues like gender equality and criminal justice reform and helping advocate for civil rights and getting young people interested in picking up that baton. So there's still a lot of important work left to do. I
still, though, wonder, like, is there any flash in time, election night or in the days after? God, I saw some brutal pictures of some really devastated faces. Could you ever have imagined, and was there a moment when you realized the next president is going to be the man who rose to power on the birther movement, of all things?
Well, you know,
of all people.
Elections have consequences. It's part of why President Obama worked so hard during the campaign. And so when people show you who they are, you can't be surprised when they actually then continue to fulfill what they said they were going to do. Yeah. So we certainly knew what was at stake here, which is, again, why we worked so hard. But you can't just throw up your hands and give up on our democracy. You have to say, what more can I do to continue to be that force for good?
What is the one thing you wish you knew when you walked in the door that you know now after being out the door, 8 years in?
I think, as you heard President Obama say before he left, one of his biggest disappointments was this toxic nature in Washington, and how I think the Republicans decided very early on from day one that they were going to put their short-term political interests ahead of what was good for our country. Mm-hmm. And just think about it, Miko. When President Obama took office, we were losing 750, 800,000 jobs a month. The unemployment rate goes up to 10%. Wouldn't you think that that's a time where people would say, let's come together and let's try to solve these big problems? So I think I just didn't fully appreciate coming in just how the entrenched special interests would hold on with a stranglehold to that status quo, and that change, it was terrifying to them, and it meant giving up power, and it meant putting it back in the hands of the American people, and there was a lot of resistance to that.
Is it possible to have an impact post-White House, and is there a political future for you? There was once a potential Senate run?
Well, I certainly hope that we can all continue to be forces for good after leaving the White House. Your life hopefully doesn't end. And for me, the passions, the issues that I care so much about are ones that lend themselves to work whether you're in government or outside of government. And I'm going to devote myself to them. What I'm more interested in is, to the point that you were getting to about running for office, is to help some young people run for office. Trying to find that next generation and encourage them. So you're looking at the next generation. I really want to help get people to appreciate the impact they can have if they get in the arena, and whether they run for office or they serve in the public sector. You know, I started my career working at local government in Chicago, and I learned so much there that helped shape my attitude when I had the opportunity to serve in the White House. So encouraging the next generation is really where my heart is.
What about encouraging your friend Michelle?
I don't think that that would be fruitful. I think that might, I will encourage her to be a force for good. She doesn't need much encouragement for that. Obviously, she was an extraordinary First Lady, but I don't think she really wants to run for office. I think she appreciates that she has this extraordinary platform, as does her husband. They're young, they're very popular. The president left office with very high approval ratings, as did she. And so how do you take that and galvanize the American people, citizens, to actually work to solve some of the big challenges that we lie ahead? And those are solutions that do not have to begin in Washington. They can begin around our country. And I think both of them are committed to that.
When you see the attacks on his legacy, do you get angry? Having been in there and fighting?
Yeah, but I have to say that I really try to do what he was very good at doing in office, and that is take the long view and keep your eyes.
He takes it in stride.
Well, you have to keep focused on what's important and how to be this force for good and to not get sidetracked too much. And that doesn't mean that when you see things that you think aren't consistent with our core values, you don't call them out. But it also means that you have to say, you know, what can I do? What can I do to actually still impact the lives of those kids in our country who deserve a fair shot and who aren't getting one today?
The Women's March, what did you think? Well, I mean,
it was amazing.
They
just
were
to
amazing.
See all of the people from all walks of life around the country come together and have a peaceful, exciting, fun demonstration, a show of force. Yeah. And I think that's what our democracy is all about.
And there's a need to organize again, isn't there? Because the march was great, but what's next? Well,
this is what I think everyone has to ask themselves. Yeah. Yes, it's important to show when you are have an opposition to something, but you also have to show what you're for. I think there's a lot of momentum out there, and I think that the challenge is just keeping that momentum going and not letting folks kind of get lulled into a sense of either complacency or feeling unempowered. I want everyone to feel empowered. Everyone can do something.
In the days leading up to election night, did you sense there was a problem? Was there a sense within the inner circle there was a problem? And were you asking yourself, what did we miss, or could you tell?
You know what, I think, look, it's a big, complicated democracy. One of the strengths of our country is its diversity, its rich diversity. I actually didn't see the election coming out the way it did. I wouldn't have predicted it. But the question is, like, where do we go from here?
Right.
And what do we do to just rebuild and focus on creating a big and inclusive tent where we're focusing on making sure that, you know, every child gets that fair shot, that every woman gets to compete on a level playing field, that we are true to the core values of our country, and we're making sure that we honor those values, and that's something everyone can do.
Could you do a favor for me? Could you ask President Obama something for me? Could he come back and save the party and tell them what to do?
Well, I think what he's really interested in doing is finding, you know, the Barack Obama 2.0s all around our country. Who are the next generation of leaders that he can support and nurture and help grow? How can we get young people to think, why don't I run for office?
Right.
Why don't I get engaged? It's very easy to complain from the cheap seats. What we want to do is to see people actually roll up their sleeves and get involved. Our government will only be as good as we demand that it be.
So, seriously, is that something he's going to be working on, is helping you find that next generation?
Oh, absolutely. He's very interested through the Obama Center in helping promote civic engagement, and one of the ways of promoting civic engagement is encouraging people to get involved in their local government, whether they run for office or not. And so, you know, he began his career as a community organizer. I think he's looking forward to going back to that and use this incredibly powerful platform, the Obama Center, to excite and nurture and get young people to want to care about their country and to make it better, and to show what are the best practices from around the country and around the world for doing just that, so that the big issues that we still face here and around the world can become better under our watch. And our watch doesn't end when you leave office. As he has often said, the most important office of all is the office of citizen.
Wow.
No, it was great to catch up with her.
Great to see her again.
A lot more still ahead for Valerie. That does it for us this morning. Stephanie Ruhle picks up the coverage.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.